Dear Maker by Led Zeppelin. Let's talk about it. I'm Michael Douglas. Welcome back to Dr. Pundit. This is a Dr. Pundit soundbite. Dear Maker. Led Zeppelin was no stranger to criticism by the time they released their fifth studio album, Houses of the Holy. But subsequent responses from the band might suggest that they gave the public more credit for their ability to pick up what they were putting down. One divisive reggae track came about the same way much of the music from Houses of the Holy did, through a rehearsal jam at Stargroves. Now this is the part countryside recording studio, part Mick Jagger Manor and estate in Hampshire, which is in the UK. Even the members of Led Zeppelin themselves couldn't quite agree on whether their inspired song was too much of a laugh. But for whatever it's worth, it did crack the top 20 in this country, which is nothing to sneeze at. Following an Australian tour in early 1972, Led Zeppelin returned to Mick Jagger's estate, Stargroves, where the Rolling Stones frontman had devised the Rolling Stones mobile studio. Led Zeppelin previously recorded their fourth album on location at Stargroves and wished to capture that same kind of easygoing, relaxed creativity. Now, the band was especially tight coming back from the road, and their rehearsals proved pretty lucrative in the songwriting department. Now, during one impromptu writing session, drummer John Bonham laid the groundwork for a doo-wop number a la the 1950s. The upbeat groove gave the song a distinct reggae feel, which tied into the song's title. Led Zeppelin took the title from the British song rooted in the old joke, "My wife just left on vacation. Do you make her?" No, she wanted to go. Now, in a thick British accent, Jamaica sounds like Jamaica. Now, from the title to the style, Jamaica was a result of the band having a laugh. But with the joke comes the risk of, from a certain segment, just not understanding what the joke's about, just not getting it. Now, Jimmy Page later said in a biography, maybe you could attack the crunge in Dear Maker for being a little bit self-indulgent, but they're just a giggle. Vocalist Robert Plant had higher praise for the tracks and the album as a whole. There was a lot of imagination on that record. I prefer it much more than the fourth album. I think it's much more varied, and it has a flippance, which showed up again later. Robert Plant was quick to push the commercial appeal of Houses of the Holy tracks like Dear Maker, and considering that the track broke into the top 20 on the pop charts here in the US, he was obviously onto something. But the rest of the band wasn't so sure. When we did Dear Maker, John Bonham wouldn't play anything but the same shuffle beat all the way through it. He hated it, and so did I. It would have been all right if he'd worked at the part. The whole point of reggae is that the drums and bass really have to be very strict about what they play, and he wouldn't, so it sounded dreadful. And that's a quote from John Paul Jones from this biography, John Bonham, A Thunder of Drums. Now, despite its singular style, or perhaps because of it, Led Zeppelin's divisive reggae track became a classic among their discography. One of these songs that just got better over time. And this was actually the first song that really got me into the band Led Zeppelin, because it proved that they really weren't truly a one-trick pony with respect to their sounds. They wanted to have fun. This was definitely an experimental type track. And according to Jimmy Page, the fact that Dear Maker sounded so different was a purposeful strength, not a weird accident. And I have to agree with that. People still have this preconceived notion of what to expect. How they should approach our albums is to forget that they ever heard of a band called Led Zeppelin. Forget about what they expect to hear and just listen to what's on that particular record. That's all we ask, but we don't get it. I couldn't agree more. Dear Maker, from the LP Houses of the Holy by Led Zeppelin. Stream it today.